Hello. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to have a new panel for 2023. It is Deborah Travelicious D here, one half of the Conversationally Thriving with Lymphedema family, and we are going to talk about Restore 2023. How do we make our best plan and bring forward what we want to have happen for us to live our best life this year? As Lymphies, we know we are always challenged by certain things, but I'm sure we are really looking forward to having this conversation with 4 of our active members in our community and have a little bit of insight as to how best to plan. So let's bring on our panelists. We've got 4 amazing voices to hear from this evening. Hi, Patty.
Hi.
Hi, Graham. Hi, Anna. Hi, Stefan.
Hey.
So welcome, everybody. We are so happy to have you here tonight. And we wanted to get some really interesting perspectives from all of you, as you all have different views and different concerns as you live your life in a daily moment. But we wanted to really understand, we had 2022 maybe surprise us all a little bit, maybe it didn't. But what are you leaving behind in 2022 so that you can have a better 2023? Patty, do you want to start?
Sure. The thing that we're focusing on a lot in my group is mindfulness and how to add mindfulness to the movements that we're doing and how to be mindful of voices and thoughts that come into what we're doing while we're working out or moving our bodies. And, sometimes that can kind of hinder how we want to move if we want to move. So that's really what we've been focusing on so far this year.
Okay. And Graham, what about you over there in Saskatchewan?
I don't think we want to leave anything from 2022 behind. I think we want to continue with what we were working on in 2022, okay, which was a lot of exercise, a lot of good nutrition, a lot of relaxing, a lot of family, a lot of friends, and just kind of continuing that. We never really had any of that negative stuff, or at least we've tried to kind of ease it out. So we're going to roll into 2023 the same way we did 2022, which is excellent.
Okay. Excellent. What about you, Stefan?
For me, I would say it's very similar to what Graham said. Is more capitalizing for me is having the good mindsets, having the good behaviors. Knowing all the experiences I'll say I've learned from 22 and just amping it up in 23. I kind of look at 23 as a good year that everybody should be pushing forward. I mean, 23 is a big number. We all know Michael Jordan had 23. So I'm thinking like this year in everybody's mind should be like a takeover year, or a year to be like, what does the best version of myself look like?
Okay. Really interesting insight there. And Ayana, come on, bring it. We know you got some good stuff.
Oh, your mic.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, that would help. Sorry about that. No, I love hearing what everyone had to say, and definitely mindfulness is something that, I've been practicing and I teach in my work. What was so interesting and what I'm really trying to keep in mind, I love what Stefan said about 2023 being a big year. I really feel like it's going to be a big year, but also to really acknowledge that, we did have a tough time. It has been a tough time. And to be really gracious and compassionate with yourself, that even in the midst of being mindful, even in the midst of meditating and doing all of the self-care and all of that stuff, that we still went through something tremendous that had a really, really huge impact on who we are today. We're not the same people that we were in 2020. Let's be real. At this point in 2020, we're very different. We've been transformed. And to have real grace and patience, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm bringing into 2023 as you become, gangbusters, but also be really gracious and compassionate with yourself.
Great stuff. And I think, we all have our own path to walk. We all have had our own experiences, but we all know that there are certain healthful tactics that we can have. And that mindfulness piece is really a big part of what I know I implement in my daily life for myself, but also for the work that I do. And I know that Bisa as well does the same. And I think it's one of those things that sometimes we can hear that word so often, but people don't really dig down to understand what it means. It's one of those sticky labels that gets put on wellness across the board sometimes, and sometimes we don't always get the chance to understand what that means for us personally. And I think it's really interesting that we've all kind of touched into that. That it is about our spirit, our energy, our way that we are guiding ourselves forward and connecting ourselves with breath and connecting ourselves with movement and exercise. And I think those are basics that sometimes we take for granted. And as we all know, we can all feel challenged as a Lymphie to necessarily know the best things for ourselves sometimes. But learning from each other, I think, is one of the best things we can do. And that's why we like to do these talks. I do have a question. Are you a goal planner, a manifester, or both? So let's start in reverse.
Both. Yeah, both. I love goal setting and all of that, but this year it's just felt as if there is this push, this shift, this energy, and if you sort of just get in line, if you align yourself with that energy, that force, then you see how quickly things can happen, right? It's great to set goals and then not align yourself with the goals that you've set, right? So for me, it's part and parcel, and they work well together.
Okay. Stefan?
For myself personally, it is both. I think you can't have one without the other, especially in whatever you're trying to achieve. Like for myself, it is both, because I have lots of dreams, I have lots of goals that I want to meet, but I could keep it in my mind all day without that work, without that dedication, that consistency. It will stay a dream. So I have to manifest it. I have to like constantly be around those things that I'm trying to achieve. So for me, it's both.
Okay. Graham?
Yeah, I'm definitely both. I've always been a goal setter. As you know, my family and my friends make fun of me, but I make New Year's resolutions. I make them every year, but they're attainable. And it's not like I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a billionaire this year or something. But I have different categories. I have personal goals, I have fitness goals, I have business goals, I have musical goals, and then of course you got to go through it. To make that attainable, you got to go through and do the work to get towards those goals. And so far, every year I haven't failed at those resolutions. So goal setting and manifestation, I'm down for both.
Okay. And Patty?
Yeah,
I already know your answer.
both. Yeah, definitely.
I had to ask the question, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think, you are definitely somebody who I know embodies that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So curious, what is on your list of goals for 2023? So we'll do the reverse again. We'll start with you, Patty.
For me, last year, a big part of the work that I did with awareness was talking about how, mental health is a big part of dealing with the chronic illness like lymphedema or lipedema.
Yeah.
And you kind of walk a tightrope of the mental and the emotional side of dealing with it and the physical side. I use fitness, obviously, for my method. And the thing that I found that was really great was when I started to train and get back into what I had done before my diagnosis, it not only helped me regain my strength physically, but it helped me emotionally too. Okay. And so that's what's kind of snowballed into the mindful movement that we're doing now, and approaching it in that manner, and just being really, it's not just about moving, to move, it's moving because it feels good for my body. And it's just really a much deeper connection. And so it just, where we're at right now is a little bit on the emotional side, because I realized so when we started the emotional side with the mindfulness, that a lot more things started to come out. Like I started getting headaches, and I'm like, what's going on with me? Like, I wasn't changing anything I was doing. And then I just was realizing, wow, you're really bringing up a lot of stuff that you don't normally bring up. You kind of keep your head down, keep moving, things will be all right, kind of, process. But when you really start to write down the things that you're working on, and why is that coming up? And it's okay that it came up. It's not negative or positive, but you have to kind of work through it. And then how does that transition into the fitness that we're doing?
Right. That's a big step, isn't it? To be able to get to that place where you can actually honor yourself, but also acknowledge those things that you've maybe, like you said, put in that back place where you just keep putting your head up and down and never really take the time to do that deep work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. It sounds like an amazing thing that you are working on with your collective, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah.
Graham, what about you?
Very similar to what Patty's doing. I want to, in regards to awareness and advocacy, like when I had lymphedema for a lot of years, and I was embarrassed that I had lymphedema. I was embarrassed that I had to wear one sock, and
right.
And even my gym today, I work at a CrossFit gym. My coaches don't know I have lymphedema. Most people in the gym don't know I have it, other than they might share or like some things on social media. But I've never sat down and talked with anybody about it. And one of my goals was always to work through it, and just so no one knew I had it. Right? I don't have a disability, which is not a disability, but that was one of my things I always wanted. But I think maybe it's high time I told people I have this disease. It's incurable, and some days I don't feel very good. It's not just about a swollen limb. It's about the brain fog and the fatigue and just not feeling good. Because as we all know, your lymphatic system, that's your garbage system, and it's not working properly. And so maybe just being a little honest with myself and with the people I'm with, and saying I'm not really in the mood to do that today, because I can't, but just showing off that I also can on the flip side of things, that I can lift all those weights and I can climb those ropes. Yeah. I can run and I can jump. I can do all those things as well. Letting the lymphedema community know that it's possible. It's not a death sentence. So that is definitely one of my goals.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And I think, every time we speak out loud and we are giving voice to this and showing the differences between us all, we really allow those people who maybe don't know how to use their voice to maybe start to learn how to open up that little bit more and to acknowledge a little bit more publicly. We all have different paths to how we got what we're dealing with, but we have that connection, right? It doesn't change. We're all still dealing with it in whatever iteration it might be. I think that, we all have talked, and I will let the two of you speak in just a second. Movement is one of that connectors that we all seem to have in place in our lives. Yet we know in our community, with all the advocacy work that we do, it's still that misnomer that, oh, I can't do that because I have this.
Exactly.
And really trying to figure out those pathways to open up that channel of communication is exactly like that, I think, Graham. Owning that you have this, and that you may have some amazing days and other days when you are not banging it out in the gym. It's because you actually have something that impedes you from doing so.
Right.
As opposed to, I was just having an off day. Quite often we poo-poo that kind of stuff, and we just are like, well, it was this, and make an excuse for what it is, as opposed to owning it and just saying what it is, because it gives you an educational moment, right? And I think we know, what are we at? 1 million people here in Canada, and how many in the US? Times that by 10. It's that many people that nobody knows what we're going through. Yeah. We're the silent one that is going through it and trying to make do, when we can enable each other to actually do. So, Stefan, what about you?
for me, I have a little bit of a, I guess, a different perspective for myself. I'm challenging myself like this year to be even bolder than I guess years previously. You know, with my boxing background and now being in the personal training world, you know, I get a lot of moments to, you know, I guess be with people one on one, counsel people, you know, help them with their personal fitness journeys. And it's so funny, a person that has health conditions helping other people that have other challenges as well, just health wise, but they don't have like a condition of mine, but
Right.
they have a challenge, which is weight, or they, you know, they want to learn how to box and things like that. And for me, is the bold factor, but it's such a important one with our mental
Yeah.
state of mind, the mindsets, our behaviors. Because yes, I have a condition, but the one thing I could control is my emotions, how I let my lymphedema affect me emotionally. That plays a
Right.
very, very big role. And for me, I'm striving for this year to change the narrative, you know, like to really be bold for the community, to know that there's not many guys out there talking about lymphedema, guys that we may feel a little ways, or even women may feel a certain way, but it's coming out of that shell because you know what? Regardless of the fact if I have lymphedema or not, everyone is living their life. And I promote, you know, body positivity. I promote loving yourself first because I can't wake up every day hating my leg because I have lymphedema. I gotta love my leg because lymphedema has given me a platform to encourage others, to encourage kids that if I didn't have it, I may not have gotten that. So I can be an impact. So with that impact, I want to change that behavior that we all have. Like, why should I not wear shorts? Why should I hold back from living my best life because, you know, because of lymphedema, because I feel insecure? Nah, like I'm changing that narrative so much that for myself and for, you know, the ones around me, that they'll see that the things that I do, the things that I post, this is a young man that has lymphedema that's doing all of this thing. And I'm doing it to a level that I want to be not superior than others, or but just to show with a change of a mindset that you could blow things out of the water that you would not even imagine because the spirit is right going with you, your vibes is right, you're really functioning at a different type of mentality. But it has to be a day by day process. Even if I have a bad or 2 days, I strive for those bad days to come because I know with a little bit of pressure that light is going to shine bright. So that's my goal for this month, is stepping out on a very, very high level. As I said, it's a takeover year that I'm trying to push for, you know, people's mentalities and just how to have like a real impact on the community and just people in general.
So what you're telling us now is that we need to go out and buy our shades because you're just going to shine so brightly.
I think it's not just for me. I think it's for everybody. To be honest with you, we all better get our Ray-Bans, and you know, whoever got the nice frames, you better put them out because it's the conversation I have with you. I'm pushing positivity and good vibes to overdrive. Like,
Excellent.
you
I
know,
love it.
yeah.
Anna?
Yeah. So for me, it is the exercise component. I really ramped that up late last year, and it helped so much. It just helped with how my body felt. For me, it's I've got lymphedema in both feet, and so it just helped with how the. And I come from a performing background, like I'm a professional dancer, so I had that, and then I lost that, and now I'm getting back to that. But my
Okay.
dream goal where this is concerned is to bring more awareness to this, um, like on a national scale.
Okay.
So doing interviews where, I've been doing some TV guest experting, and goal is to be like, March is lymphedema awareness month. Let's get we need to like spread the word on a grand scale. Presently my platform is, so much. It's good, but it's not, we're talking about, I want everyone to know that there are tons of people, like we've all been saying, millions of people living with this silently, the silent diseases, the things that we can cover up put on some baggy pants, put on a long skirt. No one has to know, right? It's only within the past 2 years that I've become acquainted with this community. Even having this conversation right now is so refreshing and nourishing because I am presently speaking to my husband about going to Trinidad for Carnival and the fact that I cannot do every single party because my legs literally cannot do it. Like he literally had to walk me home, put me home, and then he went back out the last time we did Carnival.
Okay.
So the point is, even though we have people who are close to us, he knows, he sees it every day. But the fact is, you're not living it. You don't actually know what it is that we deal with and how it feels. And so to get that awareness out for me is just the utmost.
Well, I know I second that emotion because it just is, we can only do so much individually. But when we come together and when we do these opportunities where, this can sit and reside and be available for someone to watch at any moment, or it can be sent to them, to allow them the opportunity to connect. We're all available through social media. I think we're all pretty open and communicate with people that get in touch. And I think sometimes there is that slight impediment. Sometimes that people will go, oh, but they won't talk to me. We all know this here, right? There is no person that could approach us that we won't at least respond, right? I think that's the one thing, and its purpose behind why Bisa and I created Conversationally was seeing a lack, seeing a deficit, and wanting to improve that information and that contact for people because we've been living it. And, we don't deserve to live in the shadows. We deserve to live in the present, bright sunshine. And, we might have to step back from Stefan because he's glowing so much this year. But I think we're all going to be glowing this year. I think we all have a definitive purpose over the last couple of years that is driving us even harder to make that awareness stand out even more. Ayana, you said the last 2 years. The last 2 years has been a difficult and challenging place to come from for the fact that we didn't have opportunities to be with other people. Mm-hmm. We had to live through all of this, intermediary of being electronic only. And now we're heading back into times where we can communicate and meet up with people. We can have those opportunities for people to physically see us in person. And I know for myself, that is one of the things that I'm trying to manifest the most, is that we can have more opportunities for us to get together, for us to actually be in the same space, because the energy that we generate is tremendous. Mm-hmm. I don't know any other Lymphies that I could, turn around and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes? And you're there. Although, we have people in our community who maybe aren't as accessible because they've chosen to be that way. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too. Yeah. I think we all have to figure out our own path through this, but to allow people to know that we're here and we're available. Mm-hmm. And if they need to be vulnerable, they can be vulnerable with us because we've probably been in that exact same situation that they're going through in the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to dip into what are we thinking to share with others then? What kind of tips can we share to live your best life in 2023? What can we tell our community? And what can we tell anyone? Mm-hmm. Because we know we have, as you said, Ayana, and I know Stefan, with your wife as well, and Patty, your husband, and Graham, I'm sure your family as well. You've got people there supporting you that aren't living with it. Yeah. So what can we tell that community? What can we offer as our tidbits of knowledge that we have gleaning forward to a best life in 2023? And I'm going to start with Ayana this time.
Mm-hmm. I would say, quickly just going back to what Patty said and the mindfulness piece. And maybe this goes for the people that we live with as well. Like it's incumbent upon us to be mindful, but also when you're mindful, you then become more aware of the people that you're interacting with on a constant basis. And so For me, the mindfulness piece starts the minute I open my eyes. That's a new thing where you don't sort of wait to get into the day to then become mindful. It's immediate. Oh my gosh, my eyes are open. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for the, and starting your gratitude right away. I think that has made a significant difference in the way that I kind of approach my day. But in terms of, others, it's just you have to be aware. You've got to sort of hone into the people that you live with. How are you doing? How are your feet today? Do you need a foot rub? Is everything okay? Are you comfortable? Do you need to put just the awareness and the sort of paying attention, to the person that you're living with and what they may be dealing with, which you will never be able to understand or conceptualize personally, but the interest, the showing love, showing attention, showing care. I'm not saying overly, but just to know that you're being thought of, because sometimes it's like, and they don't mean it, but they'll ask a question and you go, right, you don't have to think about that. Like you never would have to think about that. So this is why you would ask that question. And also to have grace for them because they don't know, right? So yeah, I think that would be what I would say.
Okay. I'm going to switch it up and go to Patty. I feel like, it's like, what's the magical square game we all used to grow up with? Come on now.
Romper Room?
No, that's such a Canadian show. Come on. They won't know that.
That's right. Bring back Romper Room.
Bring out your looking glass. Yeah.
No. For me, the thing that kind of came up at one of the conferences that I went to last year was going from, how you can feel about your body when you're dealing with a condition like lymphedema and lipedema. And you hear people talking about you just need to find self-love and you just got to get there. But a lot of times you're not able to get there. And what was really wonderful was it's not just one end and the other end is self-love. There's this whole range in between. And to find peace with your body and awareness with your body and acceptance and healing. And you don't have to be in self-love and that it's fluid. One day you may feel really good and have a lot of self-love for your body and condition and want to be out in the park and working out and showing everybody what you're doing. And other days you may not have that level, and that's okay. So it doesn't have to be this huge thing that you feel maybe like a fraud if you're not there, like everybody is suggesting you get there,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I think, there's part of a piece there. It's just about having compassion for yourself in all of that, right? Because there is those ebbs and flows. And I don't know anybody on this planet that can be at one level 100% all of the time. They're non-human, essentially, to me, if you can stay at that level all the time and never have your dips, because that's what makes us human.
Exactly.
That's what makes us individual. And I think that's a part that, I do recognize exactly what you're saying. It's very easy for us to, shall I say, preach something, right? That we are really putting out all of that good, but with the good also comes with some of that dark stuff. And if we don't have to sit in it, I think is the biggest thing for a lot of people to understand is you don't have to stay there. You can acknowledge it and you can move on. I think, we've all said, movement and fitness, that's one of the great ways of moving out of dark spaces is moving. Not only physically, we can get out of a dark space, but mentally, that breathing aspect, that we take it back to something so simple as breathing and people forget. And one of my taglines for my business is take time to remember to breathe. And people will make fun of my voicemail all the time. And sometimes I will get people doing the heavy breathing and then you get people who are like, Thank you. That was so good. I actually stopped and took a breath. And we have that easy tool for most of us that don't have supreme breathing issues to be able to do that for ourselves every single day. It's one of the simplest things to be able to bring us back to center, I think. And we forget that we have that. It's a basic tool that we were given when we were born. We opened our mouth and screamed and hollered and take it from there. And that's another great thing, right? Going out into an open space where people aren't going to think something's happening to you and just screaming your lungs out. It's one of the most cathartic things you can ever do. I see most of you are shaking your head. Graham, have you never gone out and screamed?
I have not gone out and screamed, but I will now.
Okay.
I haven't done the screaming, but going to a boxing gym and punching it out does a pretty good job as well. I could tell you that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Graham, what about... Say that again, Patty?
You can sing really loudly. It helps.
Yes. Whatever it is that you're projecting, right? It's just one of those things. I mean, I teach laughter yoga, and people always go, well, what is that? And they'll laugh at first. And I'm like, see, there you go. It already started. It's already working. But learning to project your voice, some people have never allowed themselves to be loud and to be heard. So to even just scream for 1 or 2 seconds at the top of your breath and just be able to get it out, it's quite invigorating. Just don't do it as high pitched as I did one time because the neighbors thought all the dogs were going to go crazy. So who knew I could go that high? I had no idea. Graham, what about you? What tips can you share?
Well, luckily for me, I have an incredible support system and always have had from day one. You know, my wife, my kids, my parents, my in-laws, my friends. It was my daughter that convinced me that I can go outside with a pair of shorts on and one sock. She said, "Dad, it's cool now to wear compression." And it was a real eye opener for me. And so just to have that kind of support and what I want to do more of. I'm really hesitant to make videos of myself working out, or I posted a couple on the Sask Instagram page, but it's kind of weird for me to do that. And to be honest, when I'm working out in the gym, I don't wear a compression sock. I work out without one, and so I have to be mindful to put one on to make a video to put it on the thing because I want people to see that I can do it. But when you talk about that mental health piece, I mean, I exercise because I need to move and I need to move my lymphedema, but I want to get stronger. But I think it's a whole big mental piece for me. It's about mental health, and I don't think if I exercise every day, I wouldn't have such positivity because I have complete positivity. I don't have this woe is me attitude. I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, I put on a compression sock, and I go and get up and get on with my day. I don't have this. Do I need to have motivation to do it? I just do it, and I credit the support system I have to do that. So if everyone has that support system the same as me, then they're going to win, same as I am.
Okay, and Stefan.
I'll say for me, I'll say it's acknowledging the folks around you. For one, definitely letting them know that, knowing that it is a journey for them as well. It's a journey that we as ones with the condition may not understand as well. Because remember, they are supporting us. They have to be mindful of us. So it's a give and take on both ends. Yes, they may not understand what we're going through, but we may not understand what they go through as the ones seeing us go through it. When we have the bad days, when we're hurting, when we're, in pain or suffering, they have to see that. They have to emotionally know how to handle that. So I think we both are fighting through something, us wanting that support if we don't have it, them trying their best to always cater to our needs. But I still think it's about working together with you and your significant other, your support systems, and knowing that it's okay that lymphedema or lipedema is not, it's a part of us, but it's not us. We're still our own person. So at the end of the day, the support system we have the family, the friends, everybody that we're interacting with, they're not interacting with us only because of the condition. They're interacting with us because of our character, who we are, our spirit, the energy that we give. That's what they're really, like the lipedema and the lipedema and the lymphedema is just like a plus. They love us for us first, not the condition. So I think a lot of times it's about still just remembering who we are to our support systems. And yes, mentally always being prepared to know that, yes, good days going to be there, bad days may come about. And as you said, Deb, is not dwelling in it, like truly not dwelling in it, not even giving it the light of day. Because to me, a lot of times with negative mindsets, negative behaviors, and I'm realizing that as being a health coach and understanding people's personality traits and really getting into the psyche and how people really think. It's just that you can't give that. Like, it's not about just, oh, you want a positive all the time. Because yes, people may think, Stefan, you are really positive, bro. Like, when do you have your down times, and like, when do you show that? But to me, it's like adversity comes, but those are the points where all that positivity, or every time I was able to impact somebody or somebody gave me a bit of wisdom or knowledge, I could use that. That's like me praying for patience. And then when I get in a situation to use patience, I'm impatient or I'm angry or
Right.
it's not that. Those are the points when we're supposed to shine the most. When we have a dark day, that's when we're supposed to have our good friends to come and pick us up. When we having a bad day, we're supposed to be like, yep, this is the point where I'm supposed to fight back. Like, falling down and staying down, or feeling bad because you stay down or you have a problem, stress over the solution, not over the problem. That's how I think. So to me, it's working together with your support systems in knowing that how you could have better good days and bad days. And when the bad days come, just look at them as lessons, not losses or things to stress you out.
That is some very, very wise advice. Very, very wise advice.
People
I think,
might say it's easier
sometimes,
said than done, but
of
it's
course it
very
is.
doable.
Of course it
It
is.
is
And we
very
can
doable.
always speak platitudes, right? We can always speak platitudes, but actually doing the work,
That's where the tough part comes in.
that's
But the thing
right.
is, we get 24 hours. Every day, we could strive to be the best version of ourselves. We don't got to wait. Every day, when we, like, as you said, once you open up your eyes, you be thankful for what you received and hit the door, out the door, 120.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, like, when was the last time you pushed yourself to like 120 miles per hour? Like, you are crushing everything. What was the motivation? What was driving you? And that's why not stay in that mode, because when you're in that mode, you're so efficient, nothing could really penetrate you. And if it does, you're so quick to just get back on track. You know, you're in that top tier percentage of people that's really doing.
Yeah. That is, I think sometimes, we probably have a lot of people in our community who might be doubting their ability to actually accomplish or move towards those goals that they want to set for the year. So I'm going to ask each of you, what would you suggest to someone who is hitting that wall, who is really doubting their ability and their capability of achieving a goal that they want to achieve this year? Anyone want to take that?
I can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I think it happens to all of us at some point, the best of us. You hit a wall, it's almost like, think of, a toy, those toys that just go along and it hits a wall and it hits a wall.
Yes.
Well, if you back up and you just turn, you'll find a new direction, right? So sometimes it's about just recalibrating, reassessing. Sometimes if we're not feeling so confident, check in with your support system, check in with your mentor, check in with your business, whomever, business partner, and and remind yourself of who you are, remind yourself of how incredible you are, remind yourself that whole self-love component, but getting back to that space of remembering your why, remembering why you started, remembering why you believe that you could accomplish it in the first place, and getting back to that space, like back to like grounding yourself again, recalibrating, and then one step at a time. One step at a time. You can set, like Graham said, you have your attainable goals, but you also may have some big dream goals. The way to get to the attainable goals is one step at a time. You attain a goal, then you've got the next one step at a time. You know, for me, one step at a time is a big, because we can become overwhelmed by the goal itself. And how will I get there? You don't always know and have the exact journey mapped out in front of you. But if you take one step, you will certainly be one step further than you were the day before.
Absolutely.
So step at a time.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
For me, I would say, why, when, whatever the mindset you have at that time, I would say, why do you believe that you're not worthy of that? Why do you believe that you should wake up every day feeling stressed out or feeling like you're less than? You already have a condition that make you feel you're incapable, or feel that, you're not able to deserve a bit of happiness, which to me, I have to strongly disagree, because you have to want to be in that space at all times. And even if you do touch in that wall where you feel like you lost all your motivation, nothing is inspiring you're watching the YouTube stuff, the compilations to get the motivation is not working. But to me, it's, you have to dial back and look at yourself and be like, I can, I will, I must. It has to have a purpose with what you want. You want to talk that life back into yourself, and not stressing over certain things. Because to me, to be honest with you, as you were saying, you have those day by day moments, you have the goals, you have everything, but knowing that whatever happened yesterday was yesterday. Tomorrow could be another story, but today, right now, I heard it in, I think it was like a movie, little animated movie with the kids, and it was so funny, but the message was so real. One of the characters said, yesterday was history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. Or today is a gift, that's why it's no, but today is the present, that's why it's called a gift, or something like that around those lines. And it was really moving, because a lot of people dictate, or their life is so much based off of pain and hurt from the past. They use that to think like their future could never be nothing, and totally forget like where they are right now in the present does not, like, it doesn't exist. Everything is based off of the past. Or, oh, I have this condition, this is my life now. Yeah, that is, but you on a different journey. Like, life could be so much more. Like, I've never heard somebody say, I'm striving to be average. Never. I've never heard somebody say, I'm okay with mediocrity. Like 50% could do it for me. No, like, we have to know, like, be your best. Strive to be the best version of yourself, no matter what is happening. That's the fighter's mentality. And I think that's the mentality we all have inside of us. Having our conditions is that warrior mentality, knowing that we have seen dark days, but then yet we have all seen a brighter day as well. So nothing really could, with the experience that we all have, like, there's no dark day that we really can't say we can't overcome. I'm sure we all could agree with that. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that should be it. That should be it. It should be that with every experience that we have all overcome, it should be another championship belt, another championship belt. So when another hurdle comes to fight, we should be able to have the confidence to keep our chest up high, heads high as well, face that giant and be like, not today. You've tried many times before and completely fail. None of us have yet to given up. And that's where sometimes we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, I am that warrior. I am that fighter. It's the boxer's mentality. That's the and I say it all the time. Boxing is a life sport and life is a fight. So you might get a couple punches, but you're gonna always get up and you're gonna always keep fighting back, because giving up is never really a part of the option, because we won't be on this platform. We won't have this conversation. So we all are walking testimonies of being warriors and never giving up, no matter how hard it has ever come to any of us.
Patty?
I always take the point of view that you have this goal, this challenge, whatever it is that is coming up for you that you're struggling with, and to remember it's not just where you're at here and where you want to be, it's the journey along the way. And like when I started to train again after my mobility loss with my diagnosis, and the advice we got early on when I got diagnosed was not to exercise, not to work out. It could make my symptoms worse. And so when I started to train again, I was starting at almost no mobility. And just to think about walking to the end of my driveway was huge. That was a huge goal. And what I realized is it wasn't that I had to get there before I'd be happy. Along the way, I found I got different strength, and every little bit of additional movement I got was huge. So it doesn't have to be this great, big, huge thing. Try to break it down and realize that you are making strides towards that. And along the way, you're going to be getting stronger. You're going to be reaching that goal. It just may take you a little longer, but that's all the good stuff. You know, the journey is the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to remember that it's bite size, or one step, or just pay attention to what's going on as you're taking those steps.
Yes.
Because you might miss a lot of goodness along the way if your only goal is to just hit the end mark, right? There's so much goodness that comes with ebb and flow throughout that entire journey. I think that we often forget that we have the power of choice, that even when it seems the most dire, we still have choice. Because what's the ultimate choice? You're giving in and giving up. Or you can give in and go forward.
Yep.
And I think that the idea of going forward is not always that lateral movement. It could be up, it could be down, it could be sideways, but it's still not the same place you started at. Graham, what about you?
Well, Deborah, I think you could do anything you want in this world. Like if you don't like something, change it. If you don't like your friends, get some new friends. If you don't like your job, get a new job, go back to school. There's always things you can do. I remember when I was first diagnosed with lymphedema, I was in horrifically terrible shape. I was in the worst shape of my life. And that, I think, well, it probably made the lymphedema worse, but I remember going for a run and being able to run to one street light and then to the next street light, and then walking. I remember taking those baby steps, but I think you gotta, put the excuses away and just get on with it. You can do whatever you want. I'm 44 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life. I can run faster and farther and jump higher and longer than I ever could when I was 24. I just think it's just enough of the excuses and stop using that stuff as a crutch and just get moving and get going and get on with life, and don't make any excuses.
Okay. So we are getting close to the end of our panel tonight, and I want to open the floor to any of you if you want to leave a lasting message for our community, for your followers, our followers, and for those who may find this at some point in time in the future. What would you like to leave as your lasting message tonight? Anyone can go. Don't all go at once.
I just like to say that there is a community here for you. If you have this condition, this disease that's incurable, you're not alone. I know that the the Saskatchewan Lymphedema Association. Our board of directors is just an incredible group of people who are willing to help, same as everybody in this room right now. And there are so many resources. When I didn't know about any of this stuff. I had lymphedema. The doctor said, go buy yourself a sock, and there's no cure. I had no idea there was all these researches. I didn't know. I should have gone to Google, and I could have Googled, like, going to Instagram alone, like just the thousands upon thousands of pages of people in the support system. I had no idea that was there. So there is always somebody willing to help. So for anybody's listening who's watching this, just if you need something, any one of, like you said earlier, like any one of us is more than happy to talk to you. And there's thousands more that will too. So there's complete support. So get out there and find it.
Yeah.
All right. Who's up next? Don't make me pick.
Okay. I just want to say, Graham, I commiserate so much with that. Like, I knew I was by myself for 25 years with this condition. Knew no one. And I found Cam because I was binge watching The Bachelor in Paradise. And that's how I came into this community and like messaged him, and he introduced me to all these people. So it's been life changing and life altering. But I would say, don't, and it's been mentioned in different ways here, but don't forget to celebrate your small wins. Patty, you mentioned that. Graham, you mentioned that. Like, it's the small things en route to that goal, and the goal can always change. Like, the goal is like a goalpost, right? It can carry you, and then you go past it sometimes because it was meant to be the thing that was causing you to move towards it. And it's those little achievements that are filling you up, that are strengthening you. And don't just celebrate yourself every day. Something. What did I do today that was awesome? What was awesome about me? What was awesome about this week? What was awesome about my husband? Celebrate the small wins because they go a long way.
Thanks.
Wonderful. All right, guys. And it was Hollywood Squares. That was the name of the game.
Yeah, that's it. You're gonna switch it up to lymphedema squares, man.
Hey, you know what? Anything could happen. Anything could happen. You never know. It could be a very interesting program.
Of course, I think so.
We just have to get sponsorship.
Yeah, of course.
Small thing.
Patty, do you want to go or you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go. I would say to give yourself grace and remember that it is the journey. It's our life. It's the hand we were dealt, and we seek out community and we find that we're not alone on it. And I can't tell you the amazing friendships I've gotten because of my lipedema. That's life changing to think about the connections I've made all because of my chronic illness. And yeah, there's new hope and new things coming every day. And the more awareness we can spread with each other and spend time with each other, the more it's going to keep getting better. And one day we will be responsible for coming up with better treatments and, cures. So stay hopeful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, I would say the one thing I would leave with folks would be to really strive to be the best version of yourself. Strive to make a change. For all of us here that we know what it is to get those first diagnoses, to not know, to not, have all these thoughts, is to know that I said to someone when someone asked me, a little child once, when I went to this conference with lymphedema, and they asked, when people ask you what lymphedema, what's wrong with your leg, I just tell them I'm larger than life. And to me, it should be that, for all of us, we are larger than life for a purpose. This world, God, however you want to say it, this was given to each and every one of us for a purpose and a reason. We may think it's a good, we may think it's bad, but we are larger than life. So live your life in that large aspect, however you see it. But it should be big and bold and beautiful and outstanding and appreciative and inspiring and fighting because we go through so many different things, but yet again, we are not giving up. We all have that warrior's mentality. We all know how those mental battles go, and we overcome those as well. So that shows the larger than life, that shows that superhero aspect that we all have. We are the real life superheroes that stand out for the community, for those that are shy, those that don't want to say anything. So we have a purpose. So anyone that's out there that needs that hope, that needs that inspiration, that needs that extra word, I'm sure all of us would do it. And those that have, passed on the baton to us, or and we're passing it on to others. It's just the encouragement. It goes so far. That love goes, it reaches everyone. Look at, we all in different parts of the world talking about what we know that brought us all together, and still passing on that love. So that's what I would say.
Amazing. And I would add, you are resilient. We
Yeah.
all are resilient. And I think that we need to have that reminder. And if you need that reminder, come back here, connect with any one of us. I want to thank you all for your input tonight. It's been so valuable. It's been so great to see all your faces. Happy New Year. And I look forward to speaking to you all again sometime soon. We'll close it up tonight. Take care of yourself. Be well. And we look forward to seeing you in future panels when we talk more about things around lymphedema.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everyone. Be
All right,
well.
guys. Have a good one.
Have a good
See ya.
night.
Care.